Madam Speaker, in 2017, the Prime Minister made this speech. L'absence d'un logement entraîne la misère. Pour le Premier ministre, I'll table the article, pour le Premier ministre, les beaux discours ne valent rien si aucune action concrète n'est prise pour ceux qui se trouvent au bas de l'échelle. Given this beautiful discours of the Prime Minister 2 years ago, Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister, why is it that by 2 months ago, January 2019, only 45 houses out of the already meager contract of 116 houses had been constructed by the ministry? Can I ask you that? Why only 45 as at January 2 months ago?
I have just mentioned about the total housing, and it was not, how many houses you said, 20? 45? No, but I'm sorry, but I don't have the same figures here that has been written by me. And this is what I'm saying, and I'm stating in the Parliament. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, give the figures that you have.
Madam Speaker, this is in the audit report. This is very frustrating, Madam Speaker. This is what the audit report says, that on page 247, regarding, shall I read it for you, Honourable Minister? Your own audit report? Minister's reply, regarding the quarterly progress report, blah, 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 14 houses have been completed by January 2019. How, Madam Speaker, what sort of incompetence this time? He doesn't even know what his ministry has written. So my answer is this. My question is this. Why only 45 houses, according to his own ministry, I'm trying to be calm, Madam Speaker, has only 45 houses have been constructed out of 116 that he had planned and launched 2 years or 2.5 years previously? That is the question.
As at date, the construction of 73 housing units have been completed as at date. The remaining 38 units is expected to be completed by June 2019. 13 units to be constructed by December 2019. This will complete the number of housing that has been promised by my ministry to be completed. They have already started, okay? But of course the money is still here, we haven't paid for it. That's why it's in the report.
Okay, madame. Alors, in French. Pourquoi est-ce qu'il n'y a que 45 maisons qui ont été construites jusqu'à janvier 2019, alors que 116 maisons auraient dû avoir été construites à juin 2018? La question c'est pourquoi? Pourquoi? Why?
Madam Speaker, I have stated already, all the housing, all the money has been earmarked, and the process of being building, I wonder who...
He has to give his reply. You can't ask him to resume his seat. Please proceed and give your reply, Honourable Minister.
The procedures of building houses, I wonder who else, you know, if when you start constructing houses with all the workers here in Mauritius, we have already earmarked and the money, the contractors has already been identified. They are under constructions, and there have been delays in it. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I'll ask it differently. In the last government, I was Minister of Social Integration, 6 months, 2011, etc. I'll ask this, Madam Speaker. Why did the previous government, in the same time period, shorter time period, construct 3,707 houses of different types in the same period, and he has only constructed 45 houses, Madam Speaker, whilst the Prime Minister has said that this is an essential to prevent poverty? This is the question.
I thank you for this question. The houses that was being constructed at that time, when the leader of the opposition was minister there, it was houses with corrugated iron sheets and wood. There was no flooring. There was no toilets, no kitchen. And most of them, and I brought pictures the other day. And we have facts also that I'm going to bring to the library of the Assembly. It is Somebody tell me liar.
Honorable Shakil Mohammed, I have said, order. Can everybody calm down, please? Can everybody calm down, on both sides of the House? Honorable Shakil Mohammed, from a sitting position, I will not allow you to make comments. If the leader of the opposition will give the floor to other members, you will have ample time then to ask your question. But from a sitting position, I don't want to hear remarks. Yes, Leader of Opposition.
Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister whether there were not 602 houses concrete built in the last four years of the previous government, and over 3,100. Indeed, there were concrete CIS houses. This is the situation. Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister this, Madam Speaker. He has mentioned the NHDC allocating 10% of the houses to the poor. Is he just aware that not one single poor person under the SRM has received not one single house since the election, and he is watching? He ought to be flushed down the toilet, Madam Speaker. He is saying...
No, Honourable Leader of Opposition, no. I am sorry. I am sorry. This is very unparliamentary. Please withdraw.
I will remove it. I will remove it, Madam Speaker. But not one single NHDC house has been delivered to the poor under SR. Isn't that, Madam Speaker, despicable? Isn't that a shame on the Minister?
La vérité blesse, Madam Speaker. To what we said about the CIS, I'm glad that the Leader of the Opposition recognized that it was CIS houses, and none of these people, about thousands of people, and they are still in the list of poverty. And we are the one, the government, that comes in, and now these people, they are outside, that has been given a house. And they are given also support of that house. And then I'll come to your question about the NHDC. And the number that I've received from NHDC is already here, and there are 34 houses that we are giving to the people now. And of course, if they have to say about earmarking, we better make sure.
Order. Honorable Xavier Duval.
You know, the process of having a good decision is not about a sprint, it's about a marathon. And we make sure that when we give something, the person, the family is outside the poverty. That's why we don't rush. Maybe you think we have to rush about it. But here, there are 34 housing units that within the next 2 weeks we are going to deliver.
Speaker, the truth is that over the last 4 years, not one single NHDC house has been given to the poor under SRM. That is the truth. Whatever will happen in the future, that is the future. Madam Speaker, given the severe criticism that has been made by the Director of Audit on the NEF, 2 years in a row now, why hasn't the Minister decided to sack with immediate effect the CEO, Mr. Clive Offrey, and instead of sacking him, has given him a huge pay rise of over 50,000 rupees?
We'll appreciate that the former government, I will come to it later, there was such a situation at the NEF that all the employees were completely demotivated. And that's why we had, there was a report from the BDO. We had to come for a restructurization of the NEF, and it formed parts of it, and that's what we have done.
Madam Speaker, does the Minister know, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, Madam Speaker. Does the Minister know that is Mr. Clive Offrey, who is a lawyer, he spends his day receiving his private clients at the NEF officers, to the dismay and the annoyance and the anger of the NEF staff who have reported this? Do you know that? That he receives his private clients during daytime at the NEF officers?
I don't have such a report that comes on my table. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, that this is an offence, according to me, under POCA, Prevention of Corruption Act, whether he will refer this matter, which I've just said now, to the ICAC.
There is no use because I never received such report, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, let's just now come to the subsistence allowance. Is it a fact that, as the Director of Audit has said, there is no control absolutely on the large amounts of money being paid to 8,000 families, and that most of the social contracts have been lost anyway? Not most, a lot of the social contracts have been lost anyway, according to the Director of Audit. I hope you have read it and you have seen it. And therefore I'm going to ask the Minister, how is it that for years and years, millions are being paid to these families without any assessment, without any monitoring, without any training, which is what the Director of Audit has said?
Madam Speaker, the figures talk by itself. 2,000 people have been removed from the pocket of poverty, and this is done because there has been assessment. And we know what we are doing with the money, and we are here to assess properly the people to it.
Madam Speaker, is he saying that the Director of Audit was wrong, incorrect, in saying that there is no monitoring, that money has been paid, that the whole of the people have been renewed till June 2020? You are saying that 2,000 people have been removed? Are you saying that the Director of Audit was incorrect, was wrong, or de mauvaise foi?
I leave it to you to question the Director of Audit, not me. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister about the extension of the whole of the social contract scheme to June 2020, which, as you're saying in the audit report, was to allow monitoring, which hadn't been done before. Was this extension to June 2020 just a pure electoral measure, and that when you come to 2020, which will be after the general election, all these social contracts will just be cancelled?
Madam Speaker, when someone, a family, a person, signs a social contract, it is for an initial period of 2 years. But we have realized that some families doesn't take more time to be outside these, and they are poor families. These families, they will appreciate the remark of the leader of the opposition to tell them that we have to remove these poor people out of the threshold of poverty when they are not ready to get a work.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister whether he understands what a social contract is and what is the point of a social contract. It is to give money in return, to ask for training, to ask for betterment, to ask for change, so that after the 1 year, which it was meant to be, the person can by himself come out of poverty. Now that is the point of monitoring and assessment and evaluation. If you have not understood that, he has not understood the point of the social contract. So I ask again, Madam Speaker, whether he is questioning what the Director of Audit has laid severe blame on himself, his ministry, for the non-monitoring of the activities of NEF, and also on the large amounts of money that are being paid monthly to these poor persons who are receiving no training in return.
Madam Speaker, I must say something about the monitoring. You know, for the past years, we had been waiting for the PRB, for the restructuration of the NEF. And it is a fact that we didn't have the numbers of officials on the terrain to work, the staff. And now it is already, we are recruiting. We are still in the process of recruiting now, because since we have received all the report of the restructuration. And there are some families that we need further monitoring to do it.
This is what the Director of Audit says, and I don't understand what he is answering. He says the monitoring and evaluation system should be set up without delay. This is published last week, this report. Should be set up without delay to enable an assessment of each beneficiary. He's coming up with saying it's already been done. So I don't understand, Madam Speaker. Anyway, time is going by, Madam Speaker. I want to ask the Honourable Minister whether he has taken cognizance of a report published in Washington called the Social Progress Report. The Social Progress Report. I'm sure you have read it. It is a report on social integration. And in that Social Progress Report, Madam Speaker, unfortunately for Mauritius a dégringolé. We were 34.
you're biting into your own time. You've got only 3 minutes left, so don't make statements, ask questions.
Now it is 43rd. So we have lost 9 places in the mandate of this government as far as social integration, and I presume that will be laid to your door, at your door.
Madam Speaker, when government took over in December 2014, at the request of the Minister of Social Integration and Economic Empowerment, the Internal Control Unit at the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development carried out an internal audit at the National Empowerment Foundation. The 9 reports of the Internal Control Unit and highlighted major shortcomings of the implementation of the Child and Family Development Program. The Placement and Training Program, the Training Integrated Housing Project, Financial Statement, Annual Reports, Management of Activities, Cash Management, Suspected Case of Fraudulent Acts in the implementation of the housing unit in Rodriguez, and lack of control
Minister,
and monitoring in the implementation.
Be brief in your reply also.
I'm answering to all the monitoring that was...
Yes, no, but you should be concise and brief in your reply.
It's so complicated.
You know, when I see how the NEF was the situation and now today what we are doing, is such a big difference, Madam Speaker. That's why I want to mention all that. And it's important for the public to know what was before and what we are doing today.
Honourable Minister, you can come later with a statement on the matter. Last question.
Madam Speaker, the Director, in all my 30 years as MP, I have never seen such a damning audit report on any ministry, on any minister. Never. I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister whether he has had any discussions, with the Prime Minister concerning his poor performance, or whether at any time the Prime Minister has asked him to resign. This is what he should do.
Honourable Minister, I don't think, Honourable Leader of Opposition, I can't allow this question because the Honourable Minister cannot reply for a conversation which has been held between himself and the Honourable Prime Minister. You have 1 minute left.
My same question, Madam Speaker. I am asking to the Honourable Minister whether following the audit report, the Prime Minister has had this committee now, I understand, another committee, whether he has talked to his minister, who has had the worst audit report in history, and whether he has been asked to resign, or whether he has been patted on the back and he's done very well.
That is a private conversation. I don't think I can allow this question. Time is over.